Why did one Jungkook, who is known to be calm, suddenly say in a trembling voice, "Taehyung shouldn't have to go through this"? What exactly was HYBE hiding that made Jungkook finally unable to stand and talk? And why did Taehyung suddenly fly to Los Angeles alone, without any official information, even from his own agency? These questions not only shook the global ARMY community, but also ignited a smoldering fire of speculation among observers of the Korean music industry. In a world as structured and strategic as K-pop, a spontaneous statement, an expression of grief, or even a single trip abroad could imply an internal crisis greater than it appears on the surface. And now, Taehyung's name BTSV is at the center of a storm that can no longer be silenced with short press statements or promotional posts. The event began in a weverse live broadcast that seemed ordinary at first. Jungkook, in a black hoodie and hair left at random, sat in front of the camera and greeted fans. But 15 minutes later, the mood changed dramatically. Jungkook's voice began to tremble as he read the comments of fans asking about Taehyung's whereabouts. His hands repeatedly touched his lips, holding back the words, until finally he spoke softly but clearly. "If you only knew what really happened, Taehyung shouldn't have to go through this. I still can't say much, but I hope one day everything will open up." It didn't take long for that statement to spread like wildfire in the middle of a dry desert. The ARMY, known to be loyal but also critical, began to dig deeper. Several large fanbase accounts brought up snippets of Taehyung's activities over the past 2 months, his absence from the group's broadcasts, declining interactions, and most prominently, a sudden trip to Los Angeles that wasn't officially announced by the agency. HYBE, in a brief press release, said only that V is on a period of rest and travel abroad is a personal agenda. But precisely this sentence adds suspicion. Why did a BTS member go to America on a break? And why is there no photo of the departure that is usually greeted with security staff and media cameras? An internal source, who declined to be named, said Taehyung's departure to LA was not part of management's plans, but rather his own decision after a closed-door meeting with HYBE's representatives. It is said that the meeting ended in an emotional atmosphere, even accompanied by crying. Taehyung, who is known to be quiet but firm, left the HYBE building ahead of schedule and refused to be interviewed by the media waiting outside. Not long after that, a staff member who had worked in HYBE's creative division leaked that the conflict between the management and Taehyung had been going on for several months. It was stated that Taehyung wanted to pursue an independent music project with a more experimental and personal style, but the agency rejected it because it was considered not in accordance with the BTS brand. This rejection fueled Taehyung's frustration, who felt that his artistic identity was constantly being suppressed by corporate mechanisms, but the biggest surprise came from Jungkook's side. In a subsequent live session, which lasted just 4 minutes, but was watched by more than 12 million people in less than an hour, Jungkook said only one sentence: "Someone is being hurt, and you deserve to know who hurt him." After that, the screen went dark. No more explanations.
No clarification. Fans reacted violently.
Many felt that Jungkook would not have said something like that if it were not for the extremely high emotional stress. Various theories began to develop. Some said that Taehyung was experiencing mental stress due to differences in vision with the agency, while others said that there were insiders who deliberately blocked V's solo project in order to maintain control of BTS as a whole. The situation escalated further when BTS's official weverse account did not upload a single Taehyung-related content for 2 whole weeks. A very unusual neglect for a BTS class group that is usually very consistent in maintaining the existence of each member. In the K-pop world, silence is no coincidence. Silence is often a form of censorship. Korean media began to take this news more seriously after the global reaction did not subside. Some pop culture journalists have called this a tipping point in the relationship between idol and the agency. BTS may be a global symbol, but they are also human beings who can get bored, can get angry, and can feel controlled, said a culture columnist from Seoul Culture Review. Jungkook opened a small gap from that silence, and the world will never be the same after that. Some of HYBE's former trainees spoke anonymously, saying that pressure from superiors often comes in the form of brand adjustments that are actually a form of censorship of artists' creative freedom. In Taehyung's case, his desire to create a more jazzy and minor-voiced musical project was considered too dark for BTS image. Ironically, fans are looking forward to the members' deeper emotional and artistic sides, and V is the one who often brings those elements to his work. This conflict reveals something greater than just internal strife. It's a battle between idealism and commercialism, between emotional honesty and branding strategy. And when Jungkook said, "You deserve to know who hurt him," he was indirectly challenging the system that has always controlled the narrative. Now, a big question hangs in the air. Is this the beginning of an update in the dynamics of BTS? Or is it just a sign that something is breaking in it? One thing is for sure, the ARMY is not standing still. They demand clarity, not because they want drama, but because they have witnessed the struggles of 7 young men since more than a decade ago. They know how hard Taehyung works, how sensitive he is in expressing feelings, and how influential he is in maintaining the emotional balance of the group. In many previous live broadcasts, Taehyung often said that music was his place to hide from the world. So when the hiding place is actually restricted, we know how painful the wound is. And when Jungkook cries because he can no longer keep quiet, it's a signal that the time to hide the truth is up. The moment, Taehyung is still in LA, and there has been no further statement from HYBE's side. But the ARMY knows, the truth doesn't need a microphone or a press release. He can appear through a blank stare, through words tucked in the middle of a broadcast, or even in a silent pause that is too long. It's not just about an artist feeling constrained. This is a story about integrity, about courage against a system that silences the inner voice. And in a world full of imagery, one honest sentence from Jungkook has shaken that foundation. The future of BTS is uncertain. But perhaps, precisely from that uncertainty will be born something more honest, more humane, and stronger. A version of BTS that not only dances on stage, but also dares to stand against the shadows that have not been seen. Because in the end, this struggle doesn't just belong to Taehyung or Jungkook. This is the struggle of all who believe that music is about honesty, not just strategy. That a wound can be a song, and that even silence can scream. The world is waiting, and history is being rewritten by tears, courage, and truths that can no longer be hidden. But behind the wave of emotions that slammed millions of fans, it is important to draw a firm line between the developing narrative and the factual truth. Although the above article presents an evocative plot, sets up a seemingly plausible conflict, and touches on the most human side of Jungkook and Taehyung, it should be emphasized that all of the information is not true and is not based on concrete evidence or official statements in today's digital age. It's easy for speculation, fan theories, and emotional narratives to mix into seemingly real stories. We live in a time where social media uploads, snippets of live broadcast videos, or even the facial expressions of a favorite idol can be overinterpreted. A lot of viral content comes from narrative pieces that have been repackaged with a specific point of view, not infrequently for the sake of clicks, engagement, and sheer emotional importance. As of the time of writing, there has been no official statement from HYBE, Jungkook, or Taehyung regarding any internal conflicts, pressure from the agency, or injustice as depicted in the previous narrative. Taehyung's departure for Los Angeles, if it ever happened, was never confirmed as suspicious or stressful. In contrast, the activities of BTS personnel who are currently undergoing military service are also restricted and monitored very closely, so they do not carelessly travel abroad without special permission from the South Korean military authorities. Why is it important to distinguish between reality and fictional stories of this kind? Because the impact is enormous. This kind of narrative can shape public opinion, generate unfair pressure on certain parties, and even interfere with one's reputation. HYBE, as a large company, has been repeatedly subjected to sharp criticism from fans for unfounded speculation. In some cases, The idols themselves have to intervene to calm fans down so as not to jump to conclusions too quickly from unconfirmed information. In addition, this kind of article, although not intended to spread lies, can be easily misunderstood as factual news, especially if it is packaged with a serious and emotional writing style, as in the narrative above. Many readers who do not check the veracity of the information will immediately believe it and even spread it even wider, not realizing that they are contributing to the enlargement of a collective illusion that is essentially unfounded. It is also worth remembering that the relationship between idols and agencies is not as simple in black and white as it is often portrayed. HYBE is not a single organization that exercises complete control over its members. In contrast, since BTS reached the global top, the members have had greater autonomy in managing their individual careers, including solo projects, time off, and promotion-related decisions. The dramatic conflict, as mentioned earlier, is more often derived from the imagination and excessive expectations of fans, rather than from real internal facts. In conclusion, it is important for all fans, writers, and media consumers to remain critical in consuming content. Emotion and love for your favorite artist is undeniable, but that love should also be accompanied by responsibility in spreading information. Let us protect idols not only from the pressures of the industry, but also from the impact of unfounded speculation and false narratives that can create new wounds that should not exist.